Back at it again. RIC in a place to be. Ric Serritella here on this beautiful Sunday. Let's switch it up, shall we? Let's get some good music rolling for you on this Sunday, September 28th, NFL Week 4. This is the All Access Football Show. We are your home for real football talk, and we can't thank you enough for being here because we got a game going on in Dublin as we speak. Unbelievable. The NFL action's nonstop. The college football action was nonstop yesterday. This is our NFL Around the League Pick'em show, where we go around the league with the latest news, tidbits, breaking news, injury updates, and our picks against the spread. We are 29-20 on the season after that Thursday night football affair with the Seattle Seahawks squeaking out the win over the Arizona Cardinals. And of course, I didn't get my pick in on the air on Friday or Saturday. I forgot about the morning game, but I did post it just this morning. Okay, so we got the Vikings -2.5. We'll get to that in just a second. Just a quick programming alert. We are live 7 days a week, 10 a.m. Eastern. Non-stop guests lined up for you in the upcoming week. It'll be our 5th week of programming. This is our 28th episode. We're building something very special, and we appreciate all the love and support. Smash that like button while you're here, and we're going to get into some NFL action, shall we? So first off, before we get into the actual Dublin game, there was some drama last night, or was it early this morning, Mr. Skylar Thompson? He was jumped out there in Ireland. Skylar Thompson suffered minor injuries. Just saw this one this morning, and our good friend Josh Alper had it, who was on the show not too long ago. But he's currently injured already on the injured reserve, but he was jumped and robbed Friday night. Okay, so this was Friday night in Dublin. NFL has no comment on that, so we'll see if it impacts the Steelers on the field. Off the field, or not suited today, just a few inactives. Jalen Warren popped up, I guess, with the knee injury. He was expected to go. He's not playing. Alex Highsmith also out, as is Andrus Peat for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Minnesota Vikings inactives, J.J. McCarthy. Andrew Van Ginkel, unfortunately, he's been banged up this year, and they're down a couple of offensive linemen in Walter Rouse and Donovan Jackson here. Jalen Ramsey had a scoop and scored for a touchdown, but it was called back. Running was out of bounds, and Minnesota has since kicked a field goal. They're up 3-0. We'll try to give you some in-game updates. Now, I did say I did get my pick posted just there on Twitter this morning. So I got the Vikings in this one, -2.5. I like Minnesota in a field goal affair. I had the score 23-20. We'll continue to monitor this game right now. First quarter stats, time of possession, pretty much straight even, 7:20 to 7:40. Pittsburgh just scored, I guess, right before we went on the air. So Pittsburgh now up 7-3, second quarter there, and we'll continue to keep you updates. So that's the first game. Carson Wentz in the saddle there for the Minnesota Vikings, favored in Dublin. All right, like I said, we're 29-20, okay, against the spread in the league where they play or pay. All right, this is the NFL Around the League Pick'em show. We go around the league each and every Sunday, giving you the picks, 29-20 on the season. We're going to try to do better this week, and we're going to start off with the 1 o'clock games, okay? First off, New Orleans Saints 0-3, traveling to Buffalo 3-0. This is the biggest point spread of the season. Buffalo favored by 15.5 in this one. Spencer Rattler, he's going to be looking to the sky in some hopes. He had a career-high 28 completions last week and a touchdown. Dylan Ray Duns, his offensive guard, is out for this one, as is Chase Young, who has, I believe, yet to play on the season. Buffalo is going to be without Ed Oliver and Matt Milano for another week. We saw them last week in that 31-21 win against Miami. The middle of the defense was a little bit soft for Buffalo. I'll get to that in just a second. I mentioned Spencer Rattler, career-high 28 completions. He looks early and often to Chris Olave, one of those spectacular Ohio State wide receivers playing in the National Football League. Olave had 10 catches last week, just 57 yards, so he needs to do a little bit more after the catch. Demario Davis does what he does, 11 tackles and a tackle for loss last week. Pete Werner had a career-high 13 tackles, and that's what happens when you're getting bamboozled, 44-13, of course. I'm talking about the New Orleans Saints. They got pummeled a week ago by the Seahawks. Buffalo favored by 15.5 in this one. I think Buffalo is going to go up very big early on. Second half, you may even see backups in the fourth quarter. The Saints are going to be battling and fighting and scrapping and clawing to the very end. Maybe a back score cover, late second touchdown to make this one closer than what it appears to be. And for that reason, I'm going to take the 15.5. I'm going to take the biggest point spread, but I like Buffalo to win it 31-17. So give me the Saints plus the 15.5. All right, Cleveland Browns 1-2 traveling to the Detroit Lions 2-1, coming off that big time Boku victory 38-30 over the Baltimore Ravens last week. Of course, Cleveland coming out on top against the Green Bay Packers, stunning Green Bay 13-10 last week. Cleveland 1-2 at Detroit 2-1. Lions favored by 9.5 in this one. Cleveland's going to be without defensive tackle Michael Hall, while Detroit's going to be minus running back Sione Vaki, who I don't think has played this year. Linebacker Zach Cunningham and safety Daniel Thomas also out for the Lions. Not a lot of marquee injuries. Quinshon Judkins, he's doing a very good job for the Cleveland Browns since signing that rookie deal. He got his first career start, or was it his second? Season high 94 yards rushing last week. Also, Harold Fannin, another good-looking rookie. He actually leads all rookies with 15 catches. The tight end out of Bowling Green, that is. He had 115 for the Bowling Green team last year. And a lot of rookies doing big things in Cleveland. How about Mason Graham? He had his first career half sack last week. Carson Schlesinger, 9 tackles. He's got the second most tackles amongst rookies with 21. A lot of young, up-and-coming players on this Cleveland Browns roster. Now, Detroit, they've been doing this damn thing, and they're back. They're back with the vengeance. They wanted to make a real statement against Chicago 2 weeks ago. They made a hell of a statement against Baltimore last week. And Jahmyr Gibbs, he's really a good-looking player. 5 catches, 99 scrimmage yards last week. David Montgomery, 164 scrimmage yards, and a career-high 151 rushing yards. You saw Montgomery busting loose for big plays, and he's not a speedster, but he just finds a way to keep those wheels turning. And Detroit here looking real good. Aiden Hutchinson getting back on the sack watch list. He had a sack and a forced fumble last week. And Kirby Joseph, man, this guy, all he does is make plays in that Detroit secondary. 18 interceptions since 2022. That's the most in the NFL. I look for him to maybe pick off Joe Flacco this week. I like Detroit here. They're minus 9.5. I'm going to lay the points in this one. Give me Detroit 27-16 over the Brownies. All right. Upset alert. Upset alert. Tennessee Titans 0-3, searching for their first victory under Cam Ward. Completed 28 of 38 last week. Probably his best game, 219 passing yards with a touchdown. He actually has a touchdown pass now in each of his last 2 games. Cam Ward, that is. For the Houston Texans, a lot of big problems down there in Houston. I don't know if you guys are keeping up to date with the lawsuit, the McNairs, and the whole behind-the-scenes shenanigans with the NFL trying to put the kibosh on the Houston organization when they traded Deshaun Watson. It's a big, complicated story, but there's a lot going on behind the scenes in Houston, and maybe that's a big reason why C.J. Stroud has been struggling mightily. Just 2 touchdown passes on the season, 3 interceptions, not doing C.J. Stroud kind of things. Nick Chubb, he led the team with 38 rushing yards. That's not going to get the job done last week. Nico Collins, he had a $104 last week, and I'll tell you what, Tennessee, they got a good defense. I know Tavondre Sweat is out, but they still got Jeffrey Simmons. They still got Cody Barton flying around the field. They got Amani Hooker and Xavier Woods flying around at the safety spot. Alec Ayumana out of Stanford, the rookie, with his touchdown last week. I don't know. I smell an upset brewing now. Titans are getting 7.5 here. I don't see Houston covering. In fact, I don't see Houston winning. I like Tennessee to get their first victory of the season this Sunday. Give me the Titans plus the 7.5 and sprinkle that money line. I like the Tennessee Titans to pick up the W this week. You heard it here first, Ric Serritella, so you know who said it. Woo! We're on fire, and we're just getting started here on the All Access Football Daily Show. Going to give you one more 1 o'clock game here. Carolina Panthers, and we're going to get to them all. Carolina Panthers 1-2, traveling to New England. Also 1-2. New England favored by 5.5 in this one. Carolina a little bit banged up. They got tight end Jatavian Sanders, who's come on pretty strongly this year. He's going to be out. Xavier Leggett, second-year wide receiver, he's also going to miss this one. Linebacker DJ Wanham also out, as is Patrick Jones for the Panthers. On the New England side of the ball, relatively healthy. Offensive guard Jared Wilson's going to miss this one for the Pats. Now, Carolina's coming off that first shutout since 2020, defeating the Atlanta Falcons 30-0. Break up the Panthers. What happened? Was it real or was it a mirage? We'll get to that in just a second. For New England, Drake May playing good, completing 72% of his passes, 785 yards, 5 touchdowns and just 2 interceptions. They cannot get the run game going. Ramondre Stevenson leads the team in rushing with 87 yards through 3 games. Unacceptable there. And then we talked about it last week, the new acquisitions on the defensive side of the ball. Harold Landry, Milton Williams, they've only combined for 9 tackles for loss, 5.5 sacks. You know what? I'm not buying these Carolina Panthers just yet. They made me look silly a week ago, and maybe they'll make me look silly again. But we got a lot of good friends up there at the game in New England. So we're going to go New England Patriots 26-20, just covering that 5.5 point spread. So give me the Patriots minus 5.5. I like the Patriots to take care of the Panthers 26-20. All right, we're halfway through the 1 o'clock slate here on the All Access Football Daily Show. We're live each and every day, 10 a.m. Eastern. We've got several more 1 o'clock games, a jam-packed 4 o'clock slate. We're going to get all the games in, but we do have to take a quick commercial break. So don't go anywhere. Buckle up, hunker down, and we'll be back right after this. Hey, RIC in a place to be. Ric Serritella checking in from the legendary Jersey Shore for the world-famous All Access Football, and you're tuned in to the All Access Football Daily Show, our newest venture here at the world-famous All Access Football, read by all 32 NFL teams and 50,000 subscribers from around the world. And I've been blessed and fortunate enough to work in this great game of football for the past 2 decades. It's our 24th season of providing you independent analysis when it comes to the NFL draft and everything pigskin, whether it's the NFL, college football, NFL draft, CFL, UFL. We'll be with you each step of the way, especially for draft season when we really get into high mode. Of course, it's all brought to you by the 2026 NFL Draft Bible, published in April, featuring over 500 in-depth scouting reports with our boots-on-the-ground analysis. We'll be on location at the All-Star Games, the NFL Scouting Combine, the Pro Day Circuit, counting you down to that 2026 NFL Draft in Pittsburgh. And be sure you check us out over at allaccessfootball.com. We've got a great promo discount for you listeners at home. If you enter our promo code RICVIP, you'll get a 30% discount off of all of our premium content. You'll unlock the magic. Get our NFL Draft Insider Reports, Scouting Notebook, of course, the World Football All Access Football Report published on Wednesday. It's your new home for real football talk. So follow along, give us a shout. We hope you're enjoying the show. If you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or X, please give it a like, a share, a subscribe, and we'll be with you each and every day here, 7 days a week, live, 10 a.m. Eastern, no days off. Rain, sleet, hail, snow, the show must go on. For Ric Serritella and the All Access Football Daily Show, keep it locked, everybody.
You are watching All Access Football.
All right, back at it again. All right, seeing a place to be. Ric Serritella here on this Sunday, September 28th, 2025. It's our 28th episode of the All Access Football Daily Show. And we're moving and grooving right around this time, man. It's been a long morning. I can't wait for kickoff. We're counting you down. And who had an 80-yard touchdown from DK Metcalf on their bingo card? DK Metcalf, I'll just tell you, primetime games, international games, nationally televised games, he just always seems to come up big in big time spots, that DK Metcalf. So Pittsburgh now up 14-3 here in the second quarter. Minnesota has the ball on their own 30-yard line. Kenneth Gainwell with the first touchdown of this game to put Pittsburgh up 7-3. A 9-play scoring drive, 71 yards, 5-minute and 29-second drive on the first score for Pittsburgh, but just 12 seconds needed for their second. First play in the second half drive, DK Metcalf, 80-yard touchdown from Aaron Rodgers. Pittsburgh now up 14-3. So our Dublin game not off to the start that we anticipated, but hey, this is the NFL Pick'em Show. We do it each and every Sunday. We pick every single game against the spread. We're 29-20 on the season. We got halfway through the 1 o'clock games right before the commercial break. We're going to get into the second half of the 1 o'clock games. Of course, we'll get to all the 4 o'clock games. And, of course, the Sunday night football affair, which is going to be between the Green Bay Packers and Dallas Cowboys. How could we forget the Michael Parsons return on Sunday Night Football? Oh, my God. We're going to get to it in just a second. As we alluded to here, Skylar Thompson was jumped Friday night out there in Ireland. Too many Guinnesses. I don't know what the story is. Details are very murky, but Skylar Thompson, who was already on the injured reserve, getting further injuries in his little brawl out there in Dublin. We'll continue to monitor that story, and a lot to get to here on this Sunday affair, NFL Week 4. So we'll continue to move through these 1 o'clock games, shall we? In the National Football League, in the league where they play. Okay. Ooh, baby, we got the good 1 o'clock game here. I told you the Atlanta Falcons were embarrassed last week, 30-0. You think they got a chip on their shoulder today at home, 1-2, against the Washington Commanders coming to town, 2-1? Battered, busted, and bruised. The Washington Commanders, they're going to be without Jaden Daniels once again. Marcus Mariota facing another one of his former teams. Scary Terry McLaurin, he's also going to be out of this one, as is wide receiver Noah Brown, tight end John Bates, safety Percy Butler for the Atlanta Falcons, running back Nate Carter, and linebacker Kadir Hodge will miss this one for the Atlanta Falcons. Now, this Dan Quinn defense is playing pretty good. I'll tell you, they got some playmakers on the defensive side of the ball, led by Bobby Wagner, 11 tackles, fifth career game with 2 sacks last week. One of only player with 10 tackles in each of the first 3 weeks, and he has a tackle for loss in 5 of his last 6 games against the Atlanta Falcons. Von Miller still doing Von Miller things. He registered his 131st sack last week, the most amongst active players. Von Miller probably getting a call to Canton when he does hang up the cleats. How about Frankie Louvet? All he does is make big plays at the linebacker spot. And Dorrance Armstrong, one of 4 NFC players with a sack in each of his first 3 weeks. He's going for a 4th week in a row. Trey Amos, good-looking rookie, the only rookie with the pass deflection in each of the first 3 weeks of play here. And I've spoken a lot about the Washington Commanders defense, because if they're going to beat Atlanta, that's how they're going to get it done today. Marcus Mariota, we'll see how he does. Down 2 wide receivers. Of course, Austin Eckler is out. So Ja'Cory Krosky-Moret, we're looking at you, young man, to have a big game for these Commanders. We know Bijan Robinson's going to bring it. He leads the NFC with 403 scrimmage yards. Drake London had 5 catches for a team-high 55 receiving yards a week ago. And one guy I want to shine the spotlight on, an up-and-comer, Divine Diablo. Woo! Good-looking player. Came out as a safety. They now converted him to linebacker. Man, he's got 10 tackles last game against Washington, last week, and he's just flying around the football field. Divine Diablo big defensive presence for the Atlanta Falcons, and they've got a pair of rookie safeties, two of the best safeties I thought in this year's draft. They were absolute steals in Xavier Watts and Billy Bowman, along with Upton Stout. They're just two of three rookies with 10 tackles and 2 pass deflections this year. A lot of talk was made about them taking James Pierce and Jalen Walker in the first round, but it's the mid-round picks, Watts and Bowman, who have delivered for this Atlanta Falcons. This is a game I don't feel great about. I've gone on a seesaw back and forth. It's a hard one to call, but I'm not feeling too confident in Marcus Mariota. I'm not feeling too confident in the Atlanta Falcons after getting shut out 30-0 by the Carolina Panthers. But we're gonna give the Falcons the benefit of the doubt. I think they're gonna bounce back here and get back on the winning side of things. Atlanta is favored by 1.5 in this one. Give me Atlanta 23, Washington 19 in a close one. This is a coin toss affair, ladies and gentlemen. All right, 1 o'clock games. Maybe none bigger of the day, especially right here in New Jersey. It's the start of the Jackson Dart era. Have you heard? A lot of conflicting reports. I don't even know what to make of it. The national writers totally contradicting the beat writers. And, the national writers are reporting that the team is rallying behind Jackson Dart, while the beat writers are saying that the veterans really wanted Jameis Winston to get the start. So I think Brian Daboll here went out on his own and made a decision. He said, if I'm going to get fired, I'm going to do it my way and do it with my guy. You're hearing reports now, Joe Schoen has kind of distanced himself from Daboll, and I think Daboll senses that. And there's a very good chance Daboll could be gone if they don't win this game. And if the Giants get embarrassed today, I'd say it's in the 90% chance that Daboll gets a pink slip tomorrow morning. He might even get it after the game in the locker room. So, on a side note, Joe Schoen's son is now the starting quarterback at Don Bosco Prep in New Jersey, just a name to keep an eye on. But I'll tell you what, I don't know what's going to happen to Russell Wilson. I can't imagine a team even wanting this guy. Is he really an upgrade over anybody in the league? Maybe Jake Browning, maybe. But I can't expect there to be a huge trade market for Russell Wilson. Jameis Winston is signed for 2 years at a reasonably $4 million a year, so I don't think he's going anywhere. Now, what are they calling him? The creatine Caucasians, Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterbo, the rookie backfield. I mean, this guy is all amped up. He's ready to go, that Cam Scatterbo. He had 6 receptions last week, career high 121 scrimmage yards, 61 receiving, 60 rushing from Cam Scatterbo. Tyrone Tracy is going to be out for this one for Big Blue, as is Chancey Golston. Kicker Graham Gano also out. And the Giants had a kicker derby this week, something to keep an eye on in the special teams game. For LA Chargers, tight end Will Dissly is going to be out. Offensive guard Mekhi Becton is going to be out. Wide receiver Darius is going to be out for the Chargers. And, these Chargers, they're 3-0 for the first time since 2022. Harbaugh against the rookie quarterback, he's got to be licking his chops. Omarion Hampton for the Chargers had 129 scrimmage yards a week ago. So we got 2 young rookie running backs in this one. Quentin Johnson's really stepped up. Season high last week, 6 catches for 89 yards. Keenan Allen doing big things. And Ladd McConkey is going for his 11th straight game with at least 4 catches. So the Chargers have weapons for Justin Herbert to spray the ball around the field. Derwin James had 12 tackles and a career-high 4 tackles for loss last week, including a big sack. Back to the Big Blue side of things. We mentioned Dart, we mentioned Scatterbo, but really, like, the game plan, the scheming, like, you've got to get the ball in Malik Neighbors' hands. You've got to target him. You've got to get him on a reverse and end around. If you can't figure it out, heck, run the Wildcat. Let this guy touch the ball before the fourth quarter, please. Abdul Carter with his first tackle for a loss a week ago. I'd like to see him get more playing time. And, when you have a bad defense and you're always playing from behind, well, your linebacker, Bobby Okereke, 34 tackles, leads the NFL. I hate to say it, and I do host the New and Blue podcast every Monday night with my co-host Dan Orlando, where we talk about the Giants for an hour every Monday night, and it's getting very hard to bring some positivity to the table. So this is about As much optimism as you're going to get all season out of the Big Blue. And this is a milestone test. We're going to make it or break it with Jackson Dart. Will Brian Daboll be one and done? Will it be a debacle? Will Harbaugh take advantage of the rookie quarterback? Well, let's get to predictions, shall we? Chargers are favored 6.5. And not only do I think the Chargers are going to win this game, I'm actually going to make it my best bet, ladies and gentlemen. Best bet of the week. Chargers are going to go into the Meadowlands across the country and just demoralize the Giants once again. I hate to tell you. 27-13. Give me the Chargers over the Big Blue. Small crew, wrecking crew. All right, one more 1 o'clock game. Okay, and it is the best game on paper. One more 1 o'clock game. The Philadelphia Eagles, 3-0 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 3-0. What a matchup. This should really be the Sunday night football game. But the Eagles come in 3.5. Look out for that hook. Tampa Bay, we know, is all banged up. Mike Evans is going to miss this one, as is Izion, the defensive back. We talked about Tristan Wirfs is going to be back in action, but they're still down Cody Mauch and Godecki, their other tackle and starting guard. Kalijah Cansey out for the year. Tampa Bay has been a injured team, but all they do is find a way to win. In fact, the first team in Super Bowl era with the game-winning score in the final minute of the fourth quarter in each of the first 3 games of the season. Boy, the mystical, magical Baker Mayfield against Jalen Hurts, who came out of his shell last week. He had 4 touchdowns, 3 passing, 1 rushing. Everybody talking about Jalen Hurts forgot how to throw the ball. Well, that's what the Eagles do. They come in with a different identity each week. And A.J. Brown was a man-child, 6 catches, 109 yards, taken over in the fourth quarter with a touchdown. You know, Philadelphia overcame a 19-point second-half deficit last week. The first team since 1978 with 2 blocked field goals in the fourth quarter of the same game. The Rams had him. They let him off the hook. Big Jordan Davis with the blocked field goal. Of course, Jalen Carter added the other. Cooper DeJean, career-high 9 tackles last week. You know, they're going to have their hands full, the defending champions. Bucky Irving, Rachaad White, they combined for 183 combined scrimmage yards. And Emeka Egbuka just thrust into the spotlight, no problem. 6 catches, 85 yards. He's got a touchdown in each of his first 3 games. He is your front runner for the NFL Rookie of the Year. How about a Sterling Shepard sighting last week with all these banged up injuries? Godwin down, Evans down. In comes Sterling Shepard, his most receiving yards since 2021. He had 80 yards last week. And then Antoine Winfield, this guy makes a play every week. I think he'll make a play again this week. He had his 18th career sack last week, his 12th career forced fumble. He's got the most sacks and most forced fumbles of any defensive back since 2020. You know, this is a tough one. I think it's going to go down to the very wire once again. This is going to be the best game of the week to watch. And really, you want to tune into the fourth quarter to see what happens. Philadelphia minus 3.5 on the road. This is as hard as they come to pick. And I like Philadelphia to win the game. I do. But I do think it's going to come down to a last-second field goal. It's going to be a squeaker. I like the Eagles to win, but I've got them to win 26-23, which means give me the Bucks with the hook. I'll take the 3.5 just to be safe. Woo! That's going to be a hell of a game, everybody. Unbelievable matchup between the Bucks and the Eagles there to round out your 1 o'clock ball games. Now, the 4 o'clock slate, usually the 4 o'clock slate is light, but the 4 o'clock game is heavy. It's backloaded with some tremendous matchups. Of course, we got the Sunday Night Football affair with Micah Parsons making his return down there in Big D. It's Ric Serritella for the All Access Football Daily Show. We're live 7 days a week, 10 a.m. Eastern. Of course, we did the college football pregame show yesterday. Down Russ Landy, who was out in London, so we missed him on yesterday's show. But we'll be back tomorrow on Monday to recap all the college football, all the NFL. And if we do get through all the picks, at the end of the show, I'll give you just some grand scheme of things perspective on the college football landscape. But we got some more games, at least 5 games to break down. A Monday Night Football doubleheader tomorrow. Don't forget about that. But we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to dive into the 4 o'clock matchups. Buckle up, everybody. Hey, RIC in a place to be. Ric Serritella checking in from the legendary Jersey Shore for the world famous All Access Football. And you're tuned in to the All Access Football Daily Show, our newest venture here at the world famous All Access Football, read by all 32 NFL teams and 50,000 subscribers from around the world. And I've been blessed and fortunate enough to work in this great game of football for the past 2 decades. It's our 24th season of providing you independent analysis when it comes to the NFL draft and everything pigskin, whether it's the NFL, college football, NFL draft, CFL, UFL. We'll be with you each step of the way, especially for draft season when we really get into high mode. Of course, it's all brought to you by the 2026 NFL Draft Bible, published in April, featuring over 500 in-depth scouting reports with our boots-on-the-ground analysis. We'll be on location at the All-Star Games, the NFL Scouting Combine, the Pro Day circuit, counting you down to that 2026 NFL Draft in Pittsburgh. And be sure you check us out over at allaccessfootball.com. We've got a great promo discount for you listeners at home. If you enter our promo code RIC VIP, you'll get a 30% discount off of all of our premium content. You'll unlock the magic. Get our NFL Draft Insider Reports, Scouting Notebook, of course, the World Football All Access Football Report published on Wednesday. It's your new home for real football talk. So follow along, give us a shout. We hope you're enjoying the show. If you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or X, please give it a like, a share, a subscribe, and we'll be with you each and every day here, 7 days a week, live, 10 a.m. Eastern, no days off, rain, sleet, hail, snow. The show must go on. For Ric Serritella and the All Access Football Daily Show, keep it locked, everybody. All right, we're back at it again. RIC in a place to be. Ric Serritella telling it like it is when it comes to the NFL draft and everything pigskin. It is draft season all year long at allaccessfootball.com. Make sure you check it out. We got the Scout Notebook coming out on Monday. Wednesday, the world famous All Access Football Report, read by 50,000 subscribers from 70 countries around the world and all 32 NFL teams. Friday, we do our draft primer, taking a look at the marquee matchups of the college football landscape with a keen focus on the top prospects from around the nation. Taking a look at the 2026 NFL Draft destination, Pittsburgh, and the Pittsburgh Steelers out there in Dublin up 14-3. They were driving once again. Aaron Rodgers with a little razzle-dazzle, running the ball, fumbles the ball, but Pittsburgh recovers. Mike Tomlin just looking over at him like, what was that, dude? But looks like Pittsburgh is going to retain the ball. They're driving now. They just came out of the commercial break, so we'll keep you up to date here in Dublin. Of course, the big story, Skylar Thompson, the backup quarterback who's on injured reserve for the Steelers, getting involved in a brawl, got jumped reportedly on Friday night. And so we'll see as the details emerge from that one. But Rodgers with a close call in the fumble-rooski. Looks like Pittsburgh is going to have the ball first down and 10, driving on the Minnesota 15. So Pittsburgh with a chance to go up big here, 14-3, 2 minutes left in the first half. And Rodgers with the play action, who works it so beautifully, out to their big tight end Washington, it looks like, who's just a truck to bring down. Man, loved him coming out of Georgia, but we've got a lot of action here. I'll tell you what, looking at this 4 o'clock NFL slate, I don't know if you're going to get a better 4 o'clock lineup for the rest of the season. I don't know what happened to the flex schedule, but man, there's some good games here that could have been flexed out into prime time. Instead, we'll squeeze them all in on the 4 o'clock docket. We got through the 1 o'clock ball games. Now it's time to dive into the 4 o'clock slate. And I see quite a few of you tuned in here, so we appreciate all the love and support. If you don't mind smashing that like button wherever you are on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. And of course, we're here live 7 days a week, 10 a.m. Eastern. So subscribe to the YouTube channel, get our new show alerts. We're also isolating all of our interviews over on the YouTube channel, and we had a lot of good ones this past week. Just a bunch of great guests. Chad Ryder from NFL.com. We have Howard Balzer each and every Friday. Big Law did a great job on Friday previewing the Virginia-Florida State game. He called that upset alert, didn't he? So it's just a can't stop, won't stop situation. A lot of you guys enjoyed the Continental Football League interview with Commissioner Mike Kelly. That's kicking off in the summer of 2026. And we're going to start introducing you to some more alternate football, indoor football, United Football League, and of course the CFL. A lot of action there. We'll try to get that in on Monday's show as well. And of course, the Monday, I'll be flying solo because there's so much to get to. We're going to dedicate a segment to the NFL, dedicate a segment to college football, and dedicate a segment to football news from around the universe. I mean, that's what we do here. It's your home for real football talk. All right, 4 o'clock games in the National Football League. Let's do it. Boom. Hey, bop. Chicago Bears 1-2 with the big win over Dallas last week, banging them 31-14, traveling to the desert out there in Las Vegas. The Raiders 1-2, coming off a 41-24 loss to Washington a week ago. The Raiders favored in this one. A little bit of surprise to me. We'll get to that in just a second. Raiders favored by 1.5. They'll be without tight end Michael Mayer. For Chicago, they'll be without offensive tackle Darnay Wright. They'll be without defensive tackle Grady Jarrett and starting linebacker TJ Edwards. So 3 key starters down for the Chicago Bears team, who really turned a corner last week. Could Caleb Williams start making us a believer? I don't know. He passed for 298 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, career high 142.6 rating for Caleb Williams last week. Of course, DeAndre Swift, 78 scrimmage yards, but keep an eye on Kyle Monangai out of Rutgers. He's been eating into Swift's workload there. Rome Odunze has really stepped up. He had another 62 yards and a touchdown last week, and he's got 4 touchdowns now, tied for the most in the NFL, along with Keenan Allen in the National Football League. DJ Moore had his first touchdown. How about Luther Burden busting onto the scene with his first touchdown, 101 receiving yards. So the rookie there making plays, and Cole Kmet with his 20th career touchdown. So the Bears offense might be heating up. Kevin Byard on defense, 30th career interception, second most amongst active players. And he had an interception the last time these two teams met back in 2023. For the Raiders, Ashton Genty, it's time to start asking yourselves, was he really this good? Or was it a product of running through the MAC? He had a career high 63 yards last week, but just not too good on the season. Trey Tucker, though, 3 touchdowns last week, 4 touchdowns on the season. He's making plays. Max Crosby, 7 tackles last week. He's starting to heat up for the Raiders, but I think Chicago is going to be too much, even down 3 starters. And dare I say, Ben Johnson starting to make me a believer. I won't go that far, but I do think Geno Smith is just known for making mistakes. He's got 4 interceptions on the season. I think there's going to be at least 1, maybe 2 in this one, and that means Chicago is going to take advantage of it. I don't know if you call it an upset. I guess it is because Las Vegas favored in this one. I like Chicago to win outright on the road. Give me the Bears, 31-26 over the Raiders. All right, there's been a lot of talking back and forth between Robert Saleh, defensive coordinator there in San Francisco, Liam Cohen, the head coach for Jacksonville Jaguars, being accused of stealing signs, but in a legal way, according to Robert Saleh. The snitch was at it. He was ranting everybody out in his press conference this week. He said Sean McVay cheats, Kevin McConnell cheats. Oh, Liam Cohen and the Jaguars cheat. Yeah, that's what you said, Robert Saleh. Be prepared for the payback. They said, hey, Jacksonville, I like what they're doing. Jaguars are going to be out offensive guard Wyatt Milam again, linebacker Yasir Abdullah. 49ers, lots of questionable players. Brock Purdy will play. Mac Jones has been cleared to be the backup. They are going to be without Jordan Watkins and defensive tackle CJ West, the San Francisco 49ers, that is. All right, now, Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence doing okay. Etienne doing okay. Look out for Baishaw Tootin. The Jaguars traded Tank Bixby to Philadelphia because they liked what Tootin brings. He's got a home run ability, and he's looking now for his third straight week with a touchdown. Trayvon Walker's really emerged as a big-time presence there for the Jaguars defense. He's looking for his third game in a row with the sack. Over on the San Francisco 49ers side, Christian McCaffrey, man, CMC, had 10 catches a week ago, 140 scrimmage yards. Kyle Juszczyk back in the fold. He had his 19th career receiving touchdown. Ricky Pearsall and Jawan Jennings both cleared in this one. Pearsall with a career high, 8 catches for 117 last week. And Jennings also added 5 catches. And we mentioned Upton Stout, the rookie, has been making big plays for the 49ers in the secondary there. All right. Keep an eye on the hand stealing. Will the Jaguars be doing the hurry-up offense, quick, no huddle? We shall see. I'm back and forth. This is a real tough game to call. I'm going to give San Francisco the benefit of the doubt on this one to win the game at home. But give me the 3.5. Jaguars are getting 3.5 here. I like San Francisco to win in a close one, 26-24. I'll take the 3.5 with the Jaguars. Thank you very much. How about this next one? This could be a preview of the Super Bowl. Don't laugh. Very well could be. The upstart Indianapolis Colts, don't look now. They're riding high behind Indiana Jones, 3-0. Traveling to the LA Rams, 2-1. This one's going to be in Los Angeles, so the Rams are favored by 3.5 coming off that disappointing loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. Of course, Colts riding high. They routed Tennessee last week, 41-20. They're going to be without wide receiver Alec Pierce. They're going to be without offensive guard Matt Goncalves out of Pittsburgh. They're going to be without cornerback Kenny Moore. That's a big loss for them, but when you got Indiana Jones, they're not worried about it, the Indianapolis Colts. He has yet to throw an interception. He's completing 71.6% of his passes. The J-Train, Jonathan Taylor, Jersey's finest, 338 rushing yards with 3 touchdowns on the season. Tyler Warren, man, this is a pretty good offense, isn't it? He's got 193 yards, that Tyler Warren. He's second amongst all rookies. I think him and Emeka Egbuka are right up there neck and neck for the NFC Rookie of the Year. Now, the Colts, 3-0 for the first time since 2009 when they started 14-0. Remember that? They are also second in the NFL with 418 yards of offense and 34.3 points a game. Yes, I'm talking about the Indianapolis Colts. For the Rams, you know, Matthew Stafford's as steady as they come, and Devontae Adams has stepped up in a big way. He had his 105th career touchdown last week. Puka Nacua, 112 yards last week. Kyron Williams, Blake Corum in the backfield. I mean, this is a high-powered offense. I think it's going to be a pretty high-scoring game. And Jared Verse, he's playing pretty well. 2 tackles for a loss and his first sack and a forced fumble last week. Now, I'm a big believer in the Rams. I might be the biggest Rams fan out there. And I think the Rams have a really good shot to go to the Super Bowl. Maybe this is a Super Bowl preview. And you would think that the Rams being at home, coming off a loss against the Eagles, very pissed off, defending their turf. I mean, the whole makeup of this game says the Rams are going to win. The Colts are down 3 key starters. Dare I say, Rick, is this an upset alert? Are you smelling what's in the kitchen? We've been cooking since 3 a.m. this morning. I tell you what, we're cooking a Colts upset here. I can't believe I'm going this way. And maybe I've been bamboozled too. Maybe Daniel Jones has pulled the wool over my eyes too. But you know what? I'm liking what I'm seeing from the Colts, and I'm going to go with Indianapolis to win this game outright. Give me the 3.5. Give me the Colts to win by 3, 25-22. Colts on the road. Break up Indiana Jones. All right. How this game is not in prime time beats the heck out of me. Baltimore Ravens 1-2, traveling to the Kansas City Chiefs 1-2. Baltimore favored on the road in Arrowhead, -2.5. You know, I looked at the Baltimore players after the game last week, losing to Detroit 38-30. They just seem like a defeated bunch. I don't know what's going on in Derrick Henry's head. He's got the fumble-rooski issues. 3 straight weeks, Derrick Henry has fumbled. He can't do it again this week, can he? Well, before we get to that, they're going to be without the fullback, Patrick Richard. Also, Matabuke, the defensive tackle, is going to miss several weeks. Defensive end, Broderick Washington, also out. Meanwhile, the Chiefs are getting healthier. Xavier Worthy's back in the fold. Tyquan Thornton had a career high in catches last week with 5, with a touchdown, stretching the field. Juju Smith-Schuster, 55 yards. This is what Patrick Mahomes does. He takes nobodies and makes them into somebody. Thornton, his former second-round pick in New England, never did anything in the NFL. Now he's a big-time playmaker. Worthy's back. Kelsey aims for his 3rd game in a row with 4 catches. Pacheco, season high, 45 yards rushing. They still haven't been able to get the ground game going. But George Karlaftis, career highs in tackles and tackles for loss. 10 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and a big sack last week. Man, over on the Baltimore side, Kyle Hamilton, he led the team with 9 tackles. He's pairing with Malachi Starks with another great safety tandem. I don't know, man. I know everything says Baltimore in this one, but I'm going to go Kansas City here. Kansas City at home. And I don't know if you call this one an upset, but give me the 2.5 and give me Kansas City by 2. I like the Chiefs 28-26 at home. Just turn their season around. And what are we gonna make of the Baltimore Ravens at 1-3, especially if Derrick Henry fumbles again? Could it actually transpire again the 4th week in a row for the future Pro Football Hall of Fame inductee? Major storyline. TJ Hawkinson with a big drop here in the red zone against the Steelers. Carson Wentz threw it behind him. Terrible throw by Carson Wentz there. Completion, if he led the receiver instead of throwing it behind him, it would have been an easy 6. So Minnesota now with 20 seconds left in the first half, a 3rd and 12, 14-3. Pittsburgh's up. Minnesota looking to put it within striking distance. Carson Wentz with a dead duck in the back of the end zone. Pittsburgh came up with it, but it was out of bounds with the interception. So it looks like Minnesota will probably settle for the field goal here. And if they nail it, it'll be a chip shot. He was out of bounds on the interception. So Minnesota will get a chance at a field goal here right before the end of the first half. Carson Wentz not looking like the Carson Wentz of a week ago. All right. One more game on the schedule for today. Of course, it's a Monday Night Football doubleheader. We'll get those picks in on tomorrow's show. But Green Bay, 2-1. Headed into Dallas, 1-2. Packers favored on the road by 6.5. Of course, Micah Parsons' return to Dallas. Big time story here. Parsons, of course, the number 12 overall pick in the 2021 NFL draft. 53.5 career sacks in 67 games with the Dallas Cowboys. 6 of those sacks coming on Sunday Night Football, which is going to transpire tonight. All right, Matthew Golden for the Packers led the team with 52 receiving yards last week. He stepped up with some of those Green Bay wide receivers who are out. Anthony Belton, the offensive tackle, is going to be out. Zach Tom, the offensive tackle, is going to be out. Packers are going to be down 2 offensive tackles. But Dallas, not much better. They're going to be without offensive guard Tyler Booker and wide receiver CeeDee Lamb, which makes that Dallas Cowboys offense very much manageable. Dak Prescott going for his 3rd game with at least 250 passing yards. Jake Ferguson came up with 13 catches last week for 82 yards. Cavante Turpin carving himself out a bigger role in the offense with third game in a row with 50 scrimmage yards. They look to get him involved on reverses and bubble screens, playing a little wide receiver. Of course, an explosive, probably the best return man in the National Football League. Look out for Xavier McKinney. He had his first interception last week. He led the NFL in interceptions last year. And I'll tell you what, Green Bay's down. They're out. They're coming off a loss against Cleveland. Dallas is coming off a loss against Chicago. I like Green Bay to come in and take this one, and I think they're going to win it handedly. Maybe a backdoor cover occurs, but I'm going to ride with Green Bay in this one. I think they're going to get it done. I think they can cover the 6.5. Give me the Packers 28-20 over the Dallas Cowboys. That was your NFL Week 4 Pick'em with Ric Serritella. We do have a few minutes left in the show that I want to play around with. So what we're going to do, take a quick break and reset. When I come back, I'm going to give you just initial thoughts from the college football action that was. We're going into halftime here in Dublin, so keep it locked, and we'll talk some college football right after this. Hey, RIC and a place to be. Ric Serritella checking in from the legendary Jersey Shore for the world-famous All Access Football, and you're tuned in to the All Access Football Daily Show, our newest venture here at the world-famous All Access Football, read by all 32 NFL teams and 50,000 subscribers from around the world. And I've been blessed and fortunate enough to work in this great game of football for the past 2 decades. It's our 24th season of providing you independent analysis when it comes to the NFL draft and everything pigskin, whether it's the NFL, college football, NFL draft, CFL, UFL. We'll be with you each step of the way, especially for draft season when we really get into high mode. Of course, it's all brought to you by the 2026 NFL Draft Bible, published in April, featuring over 500 in-depth scouting reports with our boots-on-the-ground analysis. We'll be on location at the All-Star Games, the NFL Scouting Combine, the Pro Day Circuit, counting you down to that 2026 NFL Draft in Pittsburgh. And be sure you check us out over at allaccessfootball.com. We've got a great promo discount for you listeners at home. If you enter our promo code RICVIP, you'll get a 30% discount off of all of our premium content. You'll unlock the magic. Get our NFL Draft Insider Reports, Scouting Notebook, of course, the World Football All Access Football Report published on Wednesday. It's your new home for real football talk. So follow along, give us a shout. We hope you're enjoying the show. If you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or X, please give it a like, a share, a subscribe, and we'll be with you each and every day here, 7 days a week, live, 10 a.m. Eastern, no days off. Rain, sleet, hail, snow. The show must go on. For Ric Serritella and the All Access Football Daily Show, keep it locked, everybody. All right, we're back at it again. RIC and a place to be. Ric Serritella here when it comes to the NFL draft and everything pigskin, live 7 days a week, 10 a.m. Eastern. I'll tell you, these hours of power just fly by each and every day. This is our 28th episode here on September 28th, 2025. We just went around the league with our NFL Pick'em show, 29-20 against the spread on the season. We do have Minnesota who goes into the halftime here. What is it? 14-6 at the half. Excuse me. Minnesota favored by 2.5 in this one. We'll see if they can pull it out, make some second half adjustments. Now, I told you we got a couple minutes left to play around with. Just some quick thoughts on the college football landscape, and we'll dedicate a whole segment on tomorrow's show. On Monday, we'll recap the NFL, we'll recap the college football, we'll get into some of the CFL. We'll also have some good guests for you throughout the week. But I mean, the Oregon Penn State game, double overtime, and we say it. It feels like every year for the last several years, this is the year Penn State's going to do it. This is the year Penn State's built to win. This is the year James Franklin's going to bust on through to the other side. This is the year Drew Allar is going to step his game up. The next big game that James Franklin wins will be the first big game that James Franklin wins. I mean, this guy has just got a terrible track record against big-time opponents. I saw somebody say today, just looking at his big wins, there's not too many of them. Boise State in the college football playoff, and that's about it. I mean, that's the list of big here. 2023, the Rose Bowl against Utah. Cam Rising got hurt. 2024, Boise State college football playoff. Those are the only wins against top 10 ranked opponents in James Franklin's career. But we shine the spotlight on Drew Allar, who really blew his opportunity to make a statement in this game. And in fact, I thought Dante Moore looked like the better pro prospect. Drew Allar looks more like Christian Hackenberg than he does Kerry Collins at this point. I know there's been a lot of talk about him being the potential number 1 overall pick. I just don't see it. He crumbles under pressure. He rallied Penn State there in the second half, but fell short again. And I'll tell you what, this was a blown opportunity for Drew Allar, a blown opportunity for the Penn State Lions. And Dante Moore, I told you, man, get in on the Heisman odds while you can. 13-1 coming into the weekend. I don't know what it's going to be now, but big win for Oregon. Look for them to flip-flop in the rankings. All right. Alabama. What is Kirby Smart now? 1-7. I think I saw all time against Alabama. He just has a problem beating the Crimson Tide. And Alabama rejuvenating their season with a 24-21 win over Georgia. And that keeps their college football playoff hope alive. And how about Ole Miss? Lane Kiffin coming up with the big win over LSU. And Garrett Nussmeier now, he's going to shut it down this week during the bye, because you just see him struggling to throw the ball downfield, making a lot of mistakes. And you've got to wonder now what his draft stock is after this torso injury, the patellar injury that flared up in August that he's been playing through. Brian Kelly said Garrett Nussmeier going to shut it down during the bye week. So a lot of draft implications here from the college football Saturday. Indiana beating out Iowa 20-15. How they're not in the top 10, I fully expect them now to be in the top 10 mix. And Fernando Mendoza with the game-winning safety there at the end of the game. Illinois pulling out a squeaker against USC, bouncing back from the Indiana loss just when you thought USC was back on the prowl, 34-32. Lincoln Riley over there, one thing to keep an eye on is that Jordan Maeva, he's playing very well for USC. And Lincoln Riley does have 5 quarterbacks currently starting in the National Football League. So BYU pulls out the late night affair over Colorado 24-21. And we'll get more into that on Monday's show with a look at top prospects. Of course, on the website tomorrow, we'll have our scout notebook courtesy of the NFL Draft Bible Scouting Department. We'll have a slew of prospects that caught our attention over the college football weekend. And, of course, Wednesday, the world-famous All Access Football Report. Friday, the Draft Insider. Monday night, tomorrow, we'll have our New and Blue podcast. New York Giants podcast is live right here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And while you're here, is it too much to ask? It is halftime. You're tuned in. Maybe you could smash that like button before we wrap things up. Share the show. Subscribe. Get our new show alerts. We're also isolating all of our interviews on the YouTube channel. We got a lot of good reels over there if you want to catch glimpses and highlights of the show each and every day. We do this 7 days a week, 10 a.m. Eastern. It's your home for real football talk, so we appreciate all the love and support. And this was our 28th episode here. We've almost got our first full month in the can at the All Access Football Show. Next week, we're going to be doing a bunch of giveaways. We got a few sponsors jumping on board, so we'll make an announcement probably tomorrow. We're going to be giving away all kinds of free stuff throughout the week, so make sure you keep it locked. Smash that like button, share it, subscribe it, and we'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m., everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, RIC in a place to be. Ric Serritella checking in from the legendary Jersey Shore for the world-famous All Access Football, and you're tuned in to the All Access Football Daily Show, our newest venture here at the world-famous All Access Football, read by all 32 NFL teams and 50,000 subscribers from around the world. And I've been blessed and fortunate enough to work in this great game of football for the past 2 decades. It's our 24th season of providing you independent analysis when it comes to the NFL draft and everything pigskin, whether it's the NFL, college football, NFL draft, CFL, UFL. We'll be with you each step of the way, especially for draft season when we really get into high mode. Of course, it's all brought to you by the 2026 NFL Draft Bible, published in April, featuring over 500 in-depth scouting reports with our boots-on-the-ground analysis. We'll be on location at the All-Star Games, the NFL Scouting Combine, the Pro Day circuit, counting you down to that 2026 NFL Draft in Pittsburgh. And be sure you check us out over at allaccessfootball.com. We've got a great promo discount for you listeners at home. If you enter our promo code RICVIP, you'll get a 30% discount off of all of our premium content. You'll unlock the magic. Get our NFL Draft Insider Reports, Scouting Notebook, of course, the World Football All Access Football Report published on Wednesday. It's your new home for real football talk. So follow along, give us a shout. We hope you're enjoying the show. If you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or X, please give it a like, a share, a subscribe, and we'll be with you each and every day here, 7 days a week, live, 10 a.m. Eastern, no days off, rain, sleet, hail, snow. The show must go on. For Ric Serritella and the All Access Football Daily Show, keep it locked, everybody.